This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Tasmania's new Speaker will tomorrow hold the balance of power when Labor calls for surgical abortions to once again be offered in Tasmania's public hospitals. The government confirming tonight that an interstate provider had expressed interest in establishing a local service and was now working with the department.
These 20 women today celebrating being part of Tasmania's first ever gender equal parliament.
It's about brave women standing up and putting their hands up and saying, yes, I will be accountable to the people of Tasmania and I want to make a contribution to the way this state is going to look in the next few years.
But Ms Hickey will soon put her Liberal Party allegiance to the test, today not ruling out voting against her party on access to abortions. The Labor Party will tomorrow urge the government to offer women access to surgical abortions within the public health system. The last Tasmanian clinic providing the service closing its doors in January, the government in turn offering funding for women to visit Melbourne for the procedure.
The cost of sending women to Victoria to access the procedure is not just calculated in the financial impact it has. It's actually an emotional toll that's being taken on Tasmanian women who are being forced to fly interstate.
Women in Tasmania should be able to access safe, affordable terminations in the public system.
Ms White giving Health Minister Michael Ferguson until July 1 to reinstate the service. But with a combined 12 members of Labor and the Greens voting for the decision, Ms Hickey holds the balance of power.
The Speaker is an avid supporter of women's health issues, and I know tomorrow will be a very interesting test of the government, particularly the Premier.
Somebody has to make the decision. Like in any board, there's always an outcome, so it won't be a hung decision. It will have to come down to my vote, I suspect.
Michelle Wisbey, Southern Cross News.
Tanya PLIBERSEK has once again flown into the state, this time spruiking Federal Labor's promise to offer greater tax relief for low to middle income Tasmanians. But the Liberals have slammed the pledge, saying if Labor supported its plan, taxpayers would have more money in their pockets as of next month.
It's workers like Devonport's Tracy and Donna who Labor says will benefit from its proposed tax cuts.
Labor's bigger and better tax plan for personal income tax cuts will benefit about 39,000 workers here in the northwest, which is 3 out of 4 workers.
Labor's tax plan was first announced in its federal budget reply last month and is now being spruiked in the Braddon by-election campaign. As part of the plan, anyone earning less than $125,000 a year would pay hundreds less tax annually.
They'll get almost double the tax cut under Labor.
But Brett Whiteley says Bill Shorten and the opposition need to stop playing politics and help put more money in taxpayers' pockets immediately.
He's standing in the way of taxation relief for political purposes.
The Liberals have already promised to give low to middle income workers a tax cut of around $10 a week, starting from July 1. But that plan is yet to pass the Senate.
We've got a government that wants to give $80 billion worth of big business tax cuts to multinational companies, mainly benefiting overseas shareholders.
Bill Shorten needs to get off his backside, actually give the tick of approval through the Senate to this legislation and give immediate tax relief to 39,000 middle and low income earners here in northwest Tasmania.
MANIKA, DADSON, Southern Cross News.
The state government has announced today it will fund an additional 25 staff members in Tasmania's troubled child safety sector. Thursday's budget will see an extra $24 million for more frontline and support staff and to help those young people in out-of-home care with highly complex needs. The union has welcomed the move, saying funding for additional staff was long overdue.
We will do everything we can across Australia through all of our networks and all the channels that are available to us to find the best people to come and work with Tasmanian kids and their families.
What this will mean for frontline workers is that there will be sufficient staff for every child reported at risk to be allocated to a professional child safety officer who can then provide them with the care and support they need.
The minister's saying the additional staff will be working on the ground as soon as possible. A Tasmanian man is set to be extradited from Queensland tomorrow after he was arrested over drug trafficking and firearm offences. The charges relate to a series of drug importation incidents earlier this year. Police also allegedly seized illicit drugs when the 29-year-old was apprehended. He'll front court at a later date. Dark Mofo artists are preparing this year's giant sculpture for Ogga Ogga, a Balinese tradition where people write their fears and place them into a man-made creature. The theme for 2018 is the endangered Tasmanian cave spider, which will be carried through Hobart and set alight at the end of the festival.
The magic of the Ogga is it brings together the whole of Hobart. Lots of kids, lots of grown-ups, people come and they take it very seriously when they hand those fears over.
People can start offering their fears on Friday for the opening of Dark Park. He's one of the best-known identities in swimming, with his program Kids Alive Do the 5 responsible for saving lives. And Australian swimming coach Laurie Lawrence says Tasmania is leading the way for water safety in the country.
School swimming program here in Tassie is the best in Australia. Every child down here gets the opportunity to learn to swim before they go to high school.
Travelling the country with 5-year-old granddaughter Harper, the larger-than-life figure is warning Tasmanians not to become complacent when it comes to water safety, with 5 children aged under 4 drowning in the state last year. Tasmanian runners looking for an ultra challenge will have their chance at this year's Launceston Marathon. An extreme 100-kilometre foot race will be held alongside the regular marathon in a bid to attract more numbers.
If a regular 42-kilometre marathon isn't enough, try doubling the distance and adding a bit more on top.
An ultra. So Launceston Marathon is now Launceston Marathon and 100 kilometre.
The addition piggybacks off a growing appetite for hardcore running, a next step beyond the regular marathon.
For those that have done marathons for quite a number of years now, as we get older, we go longer.
It isn't the only change to this year's event. Plastic drinking cups are out, replaced by reusable versions like this one. Organisers say they want to be on the environmental front foot.
The waste that comes from a large event, the more we can cut that down, the better it can be for everyone.
Shorter distances, including a 5-kilometre fun run, will still be held on the day. The changes are aimed at increasing numbers from the 300 people who entered last year's event, while its financial future is safe for now, with St Luke's coming on board as naming rights sponsor.
With 1 in 3 Tasmanians suffering from a chronic illness, we believe this is an important event to help the community and our members stay healthy.
Race day is on September 23. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
The cast of a new play has brought a small piece of the performance to children in hospital. Actors from Josephine Wants to Dance visiting the Launceston General Hospital's children's ward ahead of opening night.
It's about Josephine, who's a beautiful little kangaroo, and she just loves to dance.
The play is based on the book of the same name and is being performed at the Theatre North tonight and tomorrow. Over $31,000 has been raised by Tasmania's coffee addicts to go towards suicide prevention charity Speak Up, Stay Chatty. 50 cents from every large coffee sold at Banjo's 39 bakeries across the state was donated in the drive.
And the work that we've done with Banjo's over the past few years continues to grow, but the awareness through this campaign is huge.
The campaign has been running for 4 years and has so far raised over $100,000. The medals of over 160 Tasmanian war heroes are now on display in a new permanent exhibition at the Army Museum of Tasmania. The display is aiming to mix tradition with technology.
Over 200 years of history, previously locked away from the public. Today, in a unique display, the stories of brave Tasmanian war veterans will now be told.
Well, it's been a work of several really important people in the museum, but it is absolutely extraordinary. We think that it hasn't been done anywhere else, and from a military perspective, it's really important for these fantastic medal groups to be seen.
The Army Museum of Tasmania has had specialised cabinets made thanks to a $35,000 grant from the Tasmanian Community Fund and the Australian History Unit, featuring medals and artefacts alongside photos and biographies.
So together you can find out that they're more than sort of gaudy baubles, but rather they are quite profound symbols of a person's service.
I think it's incredibly important, certainly in this time of the centenary. There are lots and lots of fantastic Tasmanian stories to be told through these medals, and they date back to the Napoleonic War.
It will be on show at the Anglesey Barracks in Hobart, which is the oldest continuously operated barracks in the country. Though an area steeped in tradition, this exhibition is taking advantage of today's technology with an iPad.
And so you have all these layers of information supporting the original medal, which in some cases are amazing objects to look at.
Ruby COMMANE, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to TasPlan, your local super fund. Australian shares have closed slightly higher, supported by energy, healthcare and consumer-exposed stocks, as US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held that historic summit. The ASX 200 index has risen by 9.2 points. The Australian dollar was trading at 76.06 US cents and 108.14 New Zealand cents.
They're a side in red-hot form after snatching second spot on the TSL ladder with a dominant win over the Blues. But Clarence will find out exactly where they stand this weekend against the premiership favourites. 5 wins in a row against some of the competition's best.
Everyone, even on the track, everything's just flowing well. We've got good structures set in place and everyone's just coming well as a team. And obviously, win after win, you get more confidence.
Making the long trip north to Windsor Park last weekend, the Roos controlled the Blues from start to finish, storming home the 41-point winners. NIELD proving instrumental with 5 goals after jumping ships from Kingborough in the off-season.
I had a lot of people talk to me about that, and being down there for 4 years, it was a tough move.
Now flying high, the Roos risk having their wings clipped at home on Saturday, with North Launceston showing no signs of slowing down, having just blown the D's out to 130 points.
I think it'll be a tough game. They've got so many strong players and leaders in their team. It's, you know, you shut down one, you've got another one to worry about.
While Launceston will have the weekend bye to reflect on their second loss in as many weeks as their coach looks to refocus the group for a big back half of the season.
We've had a relatively solid training block in the last month, so a couple of trips down south, 7 games in a row. So it's certainly our longest game block for the year, so it's coming a good time.
Good evening. A greyish day today caused by a front and low. Hobart 11 degrees, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all 13. The best rainfall today was 17 millimetres at Sheffield Farm after Iris River recorded 23 last night. St Helens, Friendly Beaches, Strawn and the Islands 14 degrees, Smithton and Low Head 13, Ooze 8 today and Lyawini 5. The clouds spread right across the state today and reached all over by early afternoon, but not too thick and heavy, but a little bit of rain activity. And all the activity being caused by the complex low pressure zone. Another low is over the Bight, tracking our way with plenty of cloud, but most of the mainland is cloud free. Tomorrow a cold front reaches our shores with the surface trough through in the afternoon. A high pressure ridge begins a move over the mainland. Winds west-northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots. They'll reach over 30 knots over northern waters and to around about 10 knots inland. Strong wind warning for waters from southeast Cape to Wineglass Bay. Wednesday in Hobart, middle of the week already, an early and late shower, 14 the top, 13 for Geeveston, a top of 12 for Bothell with a shower or 2. Launceston, showers, mainly later in the day, 13 the top, 13 for Devonport, late showers for Cressy and 13 degrees. Burnie, similar forecast, 13 the top, 12 for Strawn, showery for Curry and 13. And for St Helens tomorrow, showers increasing, 14 the maximum, 14 also for Orford, Swansea 15 degrees. On Thursday, showers for most parts, more likely over the north and west. Showers on Friday, not so much over the east. Snow to 900 metres, snow down to 700 metres on Saturday. Showers again apart from the central north and northeast. Partly cloudy in Perth, Sydney and Brisbane tomorrow. Showers easing from Adelaide but developing over Melbourne and Canberra, but sunny further north. Not here, cloudy. Hobart 9 degrees at the moment, cloudy in Launceston, currently 10 and 12 degrees and cloudy in Devonport. Cloudy weather will continue for the next couple of days, Joe. In fact, if your washing's out, it's going to be damp for a little while.
Okay, thanks for the housework tip. Appreciate it.